What's up, everybody? Back with the Allergic to Missing podcast, episode 2. Today, we got a little topic. We're going to be going over the off season, how to structure our off season, how to get big as possible, and then getting into your guys' questions because we didn't answer a lot of them, but we will be getting into them. So,
I know, bro. I got some good ones this time too, and I'm like, damn, I have some ones backlogged. All right, but before we even get into the topic, how was your last 7 days? What have you been doing? What have you been up to?
same old, doing the same thing. I mean, I had a great back day today. I had a great day yesterday. How you doing?
Good, good, dude. I'm switching up my split. This is my first week on a new split. So before I was doing a one leg day a week. It was a pretty long leg day, like let's say like a 90-minute one. And then I'm switching it up to legs on Monday, and then having a secondary leg day on Thursday plus arms. Just I got to get more leg volume in. I've been talking about so long how I want to grow my legs. You know what I got to do? Simply do that.
Yeah.
I'm taking like I guess going back to one back day a week because that's like a point that I don't want to say that can be neglected, but I don't need to allocate as much time. Because truly, bro, I need to just put more emphasis on them if I really want them to grow. I was like maintaining, but like, dude, I am sore as shit. The second I drove home today was chest day or like push, and I got out of my car from the gym today, and I was like, oh, my legs are toast. I brought it to barbell squats again, and
Yeah.
it was just like easing back into it. It's like my lower back can't take it as much. Like my strength was there. It was like a 3 set of 10 for 315. Back on fire, absolutely on fire. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna stick with the hack going from here on out.
There you
But
go.
yeah, that's my split trying to grow some legs. But let's talk about the off season.
Let's do it. I think if we could start, say you get a client hits you up on Thursday, says, "Hey, I'm doing a show on Saturday. That'll be it with my coach, and I want to work with you starting on Sunday after the show. Fresh slate. What do you do?"
Bro, this okay. So I know I'm gonna be long winded with this because this is the perfect and ideal situation. Let's say they're lean, they're shredded, they're gonna be. Let's say for their first show, they got down to a solid 8% body fat, like great body composition for stage, but not completely shredded. That would be the ideal because in a realistic like perspective, if this, it's not everyone's gonna be that lean. I'm gonna say probably you could completely relate to this, but I'd say the average male that would come to would be like slightly overweight and saying they want to bulk or they want to build. And you'd be like, we have to go through a fat loss phase first. If you want to grow optimally, we need you to like understand that when you're in a surplus, the fat that you have right now is going to essentially hang around. We're going to be in a caloric surplus, right? In order to gain muscle. So that this is the ideal situation you're giving us in this context, where as like if someone typically would be overweight slightly, or let's call them a little skinny fat, they'd want to go through that fat loss phase first. So I just had to caveat it with this is like perfect. Like there's no better storm than a post show, right?
Yes, yeah. So we have to set up the off season first. So yeah, we would go through a fat loss phase, get a little bit sensitive, get a little bit depleted, and be able to go from there. So, what are your non-negotiables when we're transitioning from fat loss phase to a bulk or an off season?
So I think one of the biggest things would be, hey, just because we're entering a building phase or a surplus, you're just as regimented. Like the ideal person would be just as regimented because you're eating a lot of the same foods, just in larger portion sizes, and just as controlled. If you want to grow that optimal route, you want to be in the proper surplus and not eat like an asshole and be just as on point because it's gonna pay itself back. It's gonna pay itself back the second you just do that. Let's say I mean, coming off the show, you can do a larger surplus, but like a 150 calorie surplus, and you ride that out and you're giving it the training, you're giving it the, let's be honest, the proper gear. Like that too plays a huge role. Like post show, I'm going to say, ooh, I'm curious to see what you say on this too, about what kind of how to approach that. I'm on the end of, dude, you should be monitoring your health throughout the whole prep. You know, HCL is going to probably be a little bit low. Blood pressure, actually, I'm going to say is usually not that high because you're lean and you're shredded. But drop out the 10, drop out the orals, anything that's kind of toxic, dude. Even a 600 test and whatever secondary compound you were using prior, let's just say it was Master Primo, have that in. Maybe at a 1 to 2 ratio. Like under a gram of total gear, but enough, to elicit growth. Keep that in for another little bit, and milk absolutely that phase.
Yeah, I think depends on how stressful the prep was. If you're one of those guys that gets in shape in 12 weeks, and we're riding it out for another 6 to 8. But if we were in prep for 20, 24 weeks, you did a couple shows, definitely
Oh,
gonna clean out and
yeah,
yeah,
no, okay. That's another. See, there's so much. It's so situational, right? In each one, so it's hard to give that completely that just blanket statement of what to do. Because if it was that extended, I mean, you were dying, you were suffering towards the end. We're going to, let's say, slightly above TRT at 300 milligram, and getting everything back there. But yeah,
yeah. I think non-negotiables for me are definitely to keep the cardio in, especially well in either circumstance. But let's say that we're cleaning out, we go into a cruise phase. Like I don't want to gain more than 1 pound a week. Even coming out of post show, try and stay as lean as possible. I think even if you did drop the compounds or in a cruise TRT, like your weight might stay the same. It's just a different look, But I do like to use the cruise, whether that's a show or not, as our sort of mini cut to set up the next phase. So we can stay lean, sensitive through the cut. Then when we add in food, we add in the compounds. It's like a 1 + 1 = 3.
absolutely. Yeah, the like you said, the keeping the cardio in is going to be a big thing. I'm on the end of, especially with a prep, I'd rather keep, cardio slightly higher in order to eat a little bit more too. And so just the same idea on the way up, you're going to have these hunger cues so when you're reversing out. Keep that in daily. Slowly taper. You do that is something, of course, you do want to taper off because you
Right.
don't want to get stuck in that hole of you're maintaining this really good body composition, but you're doing 45 minutes of cardio a day. Is that going to take what it takes in a cut in a show prep? Absolutely. But after that, what is sustainable? And then you want to allocate that time you used for cardio, whether it's towards one or two more working sets, a little bit more volume during the week, or simply recovery. Right? You're now that you're actually putting your muscles under that load of more strenuous weights versus maintaining, you're going to need that extra recovery time, and you don't want to be overdoing that on that either.
Yeah. Well, let's go into the juicy. So food's coming up, cardio's coming down. We're in our solidified off season. What's your go-to stack? We had two questions for this. So I had one that said cycle for 20 to 24 weeks, cycle for 10 to 12 weeks.
Oh, this is good. Okay, I'm sure you're going to have a similar answer to myself. And because this comes also into phases, whether it's like, when is the next, how long do you have before your next show, like how long, right, the next phase will be. So given the two situations, there's going to be we have a 12-week window, to set ourselves up and then clean out again, to then do another prep or whatever it is. This would be someone that's already at the level of muscularity they need versus someone that's trying to hop up a whole nother class or, put on tons of tissue. For example, I'm going to throw myself in there as a men's physique competitor. I don't need another 20 pounds of mass. I can get away with a 12-week season. I mean, like off season in between to kind of refine. But if I was trying to classic or bodybuild, I'd need much more time. So this is kind of with that in mind. So you also want to think about compounds and simply how long it takes to kick in, right? But especially like these, the granandrolones. Oh, this is a perfect example. If you have that, if you need that quicker build time, MPP would be an incredible option to do. Not propionate, it's going to be something that's nearly saturated by the end of the week. Alongside your dose of testosterone plus a DHT. I like that combination. I think it's going to work very, very well for someone. Whereas something like EQ would be in the more extended building season because that's going to take a little while to peak. It's going to take a little bit. And then that's something that can be seen with MPP as well. Essentially, that's layering up. The EQ will essentially start building up to full saturation point as well. So I think compound selection will come down to a lot of exactly your time frame and what you're looking to achieve in what amount of time. And then the other thing being orals, obviously, they have their place. I'm going to say they have their place in the off season. more from a performance standpoint that as a main driver of muscle building. Like to keep like 50 megs of anadrol a day for like 6 weeks straight, you're probably going to feel a little bit shitty. High blood pressure is going to come up. You might not be able to eat. Your stomach's going to probably mess up pretty soon. It's like one of those things where maybe twice a week as like a pre-training kind of thing, or I would have it with meal one because you can go over peak times, like saying it doesn't kick in 20 minutes pre-workout. But I would say orals. I would say they have their place, but it wouldn't be the main driver of growth versus using a situation.
Definitely, definitely. So what do you think about titrations? Like, say if we got 10 to 12 weeks, it's something that's floating around is maybe splitting test P and test C or E, get it faster, or we just go straight to peak dose. Versus...
Oh, good two things there. So for one, I get the whole combining ENP or like NPP and DECA. Yeah. I'd rather just not do the math and have the guesswork, because we're talking about, like, you and I, we fucking nerds drawing out exactly how much we specifically need, right? It's not going to be simple math. But to say, like, ask someone to do that. Hey, bro, make sure you have a test E and a test P on hand, an NPP and a DECA on hand. Draw this amount, draw this amount. It's a lot to ask of someone. I know to us it's like not an issue, but it could be a lot to ask of someone. But in a shorter phase, we're talking peak dose off the bat. I'm going peak dose off the bat. In a longer escalation, let's say like a 20 to 24 week one, I have no issue with, at the 9 week mark, doing a general bump of 200 milligrams total or something like that with these longer esters, given they're already built up and they're going to slowly incrementally go up. I wouldn't start off peak doses for that long, especially because it's going to be a little bit extended. But let's say you're doing anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks, we're going right out the gate. And even then, with like an anti-ester, it's going to layer up to a pretty solidified, hill without peaks and valleying too much. So even if it takes like an extra week or a week and a half for it to completely peak in your system, I'm just going with one. What about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the test P thing is interesting. I think I like the idea of layering in, like, you could start 4 weeks of anadrol and then put in NPP. I like that a little bit better. Or you could even do 4 weeks of tren and then NPP. That works. I mean, that works.
That would be ace.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I've never combined a 19 or in my life, and that's one of those things that I'm probably never going to try because I don't even want to fuck with it.
Yeah. But titration wise, I think it is good to have them because, at 4 weeks or so, say you're using test and EQ, and you're like, 4 weeks, you might not feel anything, right? So you could use an oral there, Anavar would be better there if you're doing 20, 24 weeks. And then I think you can bump up every 6 weeks or so. So you get, you push and then you push a little bit more and push a little bit more. Maybe it's, 1 week we're adding food. The next week we're bumping up, 1 week we're adding food. And then the next week we can bump up or something like that. So that there's constant progression. But I think I want to get 10 to 12 weeks at peak dose. So get to your peak dose by week 10 or so.
And get a lot, you're saying, and get a lot out of that. Be at the peak dose for a while, right? Not just for like 4 weeks and then you're dropping down your cruise.
Right.
Speaking about peak dose, I think we should go over what does that look like specific to the individual. So I want to say, like, where are you at in your bodybuilding career? Where are you at in that? What demand does it take? Because I've talked to some of my guys before about what does a peak dose look like. If you're a 200-pound relatively lean male and you're trying to get up, push up another 10 to 15 pounds of true muscle tissue, it's 500 tests is not going to cut it. But also, like, if somebody is, let's just say, I don't judge the 160-pound guy, given they have like a foundation of lifting. They're just a smaller guy, but they have muscularity. They're looking to take something in bodybuilding, and they're looking to progress. I have no issue with saying they're not allowed to use gear yet because they're still small. Obviously, I'm saying they should have a foundation, but that person does not need 1.5 grams of gear to grow yet. But let's say a 200-pound and up male, you're going to have to do some bodybuilding doses. That applies to the gear, that applies to the growth hormone. It's going to be it's going to take a bit more than you think Justin Harris is one of the guys that kind of instilled this in me first. Uh, Before him, I want to say like I'd never gone above probably 1 gram to 1.1. And then I was 200 pounds relatively lean at the time. He's like, bro, if you want to grow muscle, like, that's not enough. He's like, that's not enough. We're talking, you need to be in the upper 1 gram mark and even touching 2. And to me, that was relatively new. So obviously we met in the middle at the 1.5. But he was like, no, dude, like, you need to do some bodybuilding doses here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does depend on the person. Obviously, you have the outliers of the hyper responders, but I think if you can look at your first cycle, maybe you do 300 tests and 25 anavar at your peak, and then your next cycle you want to do tests in primo, and you're maybe at total milligram of 800 milligrams or so, and then your next cycle you're like, all right, let's put some muscle on. We throw in some MPP, maybe you're around 1.1, 1.2. And I feel like you can, titrate up from there. Hopefully you're putting on more size and gaining more weight at that point. So
you'd hope that the food accommodates it too, and the muscle that you're putting on is, it's not just that going in.
Yeah. But I think there's a lot of nuance. I think once you find your sweet spot, that at that point it's the food, and we can talk about the synergy of using like GH, and how I think if you use a higher GH, you can get away with less anabolics.
And we can make the argument that in the end, that's going to be the safer approach. I want to say healthier, but like absolutely safer. Right. We're talking like the increases in, diminished returns with all these things as well as I think we should go over. 600 tests works great. 750 might work better. To me, after I go 750 and above is when was the first time I touched 900? I want to say it was on my powerlifting prep when I did a metro. My best meet was actually, I was running 900 tests. But I'm going to say, like, that's when I felt like increase. I tested my blood pressure. I had higher blood pressure. I would feel like head pressure. I never got any nosebleeds or anything like that. But it kind of taught me of what my upper end of what I like for testosterone, and that's in that 700 to 750 range, where there's also diminished returns with all these things too. So also, the older I get, the more it's like what do I feel good on? What do I perform well on? What do I sleep well? What doesn't affect my fucking normal everyday life, right?
Yeah.
And then adding growth hormones to that, 6 IUs of growth, instead of taking that up, boom, recover a lot better, joints are going to feel a lot better. The anti-aging, obviously, it's much more than your anti-aging dose, but we're talking bodybuilding doses.
Yeah, I'm of the camp that if you are, say, that 160-pound guy and you're taking too much, that you don't have enough androgen receptors to actually use it. So that's why they end up like, you can see the guys who like have the side effects. You can see it in them, and it's just because it's just like spilling over. If you have this many androgen receptors that matches up with this amount of testosterone, but you're taking this much, the rest of it's just spilling into side effects.
Spilling over the sides. Exactly. That's funny. It's because that's also how food works as well, right? The energy demand that you have for food. Same idea. It's like all this, and then in synergy, we want the right food to complement all of this all too. You could be a lot of guys could be under eating in bulk. I'm going to say that's just as prevalent as overeating and getting fat. Like, just you're not eating enough, bro. Like, you're truly like,
I think
you gotta eat more food.
I think it's much more common to see not eating enough clean food.
That's it. Okay, you got a point there.
Yeah.
Learn to love your food. I'm gonna be the first to admit I'm spoiled with having Brie cook 85% of the food that I eat. But genuinely, like, you start like. It can't be all this bullshit, bro. It can't be bullshit food. Literally, your body is a fucking machine. If you want a well-oiled machine, you can't be feeding it this crap.
Yeah. So ideally, as a coach, you have a client who's in the off season. What kind of weight gain do you want to see per week and per month?
See, let's say it's a relatively newer person. I have nothing wrong with that. Let's say 0.75 of a pound to 1.5 pounds, given it looks quality. But if, I mean, if someone's already a large individual, then it's refinement. They shouldn't be gaining too much off the bat. But let's say the second you get into, if you're seeing a 2 pound gain week after week after week after week, likely it's not going to be quality muscle tissue. It's going to be a lot softer. I mean, also, dang, I know there's so many tangents I'm going off on, but I do believe, and Joe talks about this all the time. We both like Joe Purchase content.
Yeah.
A lot of guys do need to go through like a simple phase where they got a little heavier and a little bigger. But given, of course, they're still eating bodybuilding food, they're training hard, they're doing everything like that. I'm going to credit a lot of my gains to when I did my sloppiest, I mean, within reason, sloppiest bulk. I was 240 at one point before I couldn't even imagine touching that now. But like, I believe that off season truly is when I packed most of my muscle on. So a newer person to that, them going through like a muscle building phase like that or a weight gain phase, I do believe it has its merit.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I don't know.
yourself? What would you say?
I don't know. I don't know. Cause I did a pretty hefty bulk before my last show. I got up to like 250, but it was a sloppy 250. I mean, that was just like, riding off of, there was no come down off of my first cycle. So I just kind of kept going up. My weight kept going up. So I competed at 180 pounds. And then a year and a half later, 250 pounds.
Way looking a whole different ass person than the original 250, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So now from my last show to now, 210 to now at 265, but much better condition. And like, I didn't push the food incredibly hard. Like I made jumps, when I needed to make jumps. If my weight stayed the same, I made a jump, and weight stayed the same, I made a jump. But, I mean, I'm not uncomfortable eating now, I'm not trying to get fat. I'm not, so I'm in between.
Your rate of gain right now, what are you looking for, and kind of what are you looking for, and what would be a red flag in your situation?
I'm looking for like half pound a week at this point. Like daily. Yeah. So I do daily, and then I look at my weekly average. But if I'll have a couple outlier weight jumps, but I don't think that over a week we should have like jumps of 8 pounds.
Absolutely not.
I'll jump weight, usually every week after I train legs or if I have a bad night of sleep. But I note those things and then it comes back down. But I think that's a red flag if, you're going to eat your one cheat meal a week and you're up 8 pounds the next day.
It's wrong. Like that, you're doing something wrong there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning of my off season, I mean, my body was ripping food. Like I would go eat sushi, and then drop weight, go have 100 pieces of sushi and drop weight the next day. It's like, that's what you want to happen. You want your body to be ripping. So I think that's a clear red flag.
Is this when you're already monitoring your blood sugars at this point already?
No, I wasn't at that point.
It's interesting. I'm really curious to know like what you have been at that point.
Yeah.
Or what you would have been averaging.
Yeah, it is interesting. But I mean, now, like, even like I'll eat a cheat meal. We'll get sushi and I'll get some cookies or whatever. And, I'll go to bed at 110 or something, and then I'll wake up still at 85, so it's like,
I think this is another little portion of like how often these cheat meals truly are occurring. I know you look at it as like, for anyone watching this, it's like your cheat meal a week. It's not your grazing that shit throughout the day. It's not your Tuesday night, I'm driving home to the Burger King, right? Because this truly applies too. I like saying it like, when trying to gain muscle, we all have this like essentially tank where we want to, fill ourselves up to where we are in the surplus to gain muscle, not in a deficit. But there's only so much you can take where you spill over. Even the bodybuilder, unless, there's the outliers again, the ones with the elite genetics and that can essentially get away with that kind of shit. But it's like, you want the best off seasons are where you truly are controlling your surplus. You're being meticulous about still measuring your food, just as you were in a contest prep. your food's going to taste better. You're going to get more of it. Hell yeah. But it's like, this is still like the cheat meal a week or the special occasion versus just guesswork every day by adding other random shit to it.
Yeah, it's not a extra 2,000 calorie meal. It's like it's a different meal. It's a
Yes.
similar calorie meal, just out.
Exactly.
I mean,
And I
like,
think
yeah,
that plays a role too. Just like with contest prep, I want to say like how you extend an off season too is like you still kind of enjoy what you're doing, and it's like, you know, whether it's friends, your partner, or things like that, you still have, you know, that time away, but you're also still not eating like an asshole.
yeah, that'll ruin an off season very quickly and ruin your health. I think so. We touched on food. I think cheat meals are a big thing that can keep you healthy or ruin your health. What else are we doing health wise? What, you know? So we got cardio, we got staying, you know, eating clean, cheat meals to a minimum. What are the other juicy health things?
I'm going to say it's going to be a lot of our ancillaries and our health supplements, which is something you should be monitoring most of the time too. Like, ooh, oh, you know what? Side note from all this does apply. Dude, S31 and kidney health. Have you seen? Have you? I think it's incredible for that, bro.
Yeah, I've seen it in clients, not in myself. It didn't do anything for me, but in
No,
clients.
okay. I'd say probably yeah. Maybe it's apply to different people. But dude, I've never had a cystatin C my EGFR. I had an EGFR 130. I was like, what the fuck? Great. I mean, given I want to say genetically because I look back at my blood work across when I was younger, and it's always been good too. So I kind of have a resilient kidneys in that matter. But health supplements like monitoring your blood pressure is that good. Monitoring your I mean, your resting heart rate is going to get higher as you get larger. That's going to be one thing, and your blood pressure is going to run higher as you get larger. But you can still keep that in good range, and it's something you're going to want to monitor because that's going to translate to your recovery, your sleep, all that. It all comes together in unison for the optimal off season because you got to monitor that because if your body's not functioning at 100%, you're not going to like how you know when Phil Viz talks about he's got a great point. These health supplements that we take, you can't peak right for a show if your kidneys aren't filtering things right. You won't build muscle if your liver's not excreting, I mean, the lactic acid from our training, right? There's all these things too. We want to keep on monitoring that. So health stuff year round, and that could be its own 20-minute conversation. But I guess one thing to go off of that too is not just throwing the kitchen sink of health supplements because I'm sure you went through a phase when you kind of just took and bought everything too, right?
That's fine.
But you got after monitoring more panels, so you get to see like, okay, this is what impacts me in this way. This doesn't impact me in that way. I need to be more proactive about this, etc. Taking different things. Like I'm going to say, general preemptive meds would be things like ezetimibe. You know, we talked about that. Some telmisartan. If you can avoid statins, you do. But like rosuvastatin, if needed, you know, has its place as well. Cialis, I take because I like how I get fucking pumped, but it helps with blood pressure as well, right?
Right. Yeah, I think those are huge. I mean, obviously, telmisartan, ezetimibe are like I'll probably be on them for the rest of my life. But I think the peptides are peptides. Peptides are the best. I mean, they're awesome. I mean, MOTS-C is an off-season staple. You know, like MOTS-C is an off-season staple. SS31 is great for the kidney health. You know, I think, you know, you can even use like a low dose SLU, you know, Retta is improving LDL, stuff like that to overall keep us healthy.
And let's talk about extending like health and off season as well. Glutathione. I'm so new to this stuff too, dude. Wow. I have not, and I'm going to attribute it to just being I mean, one, eating well and doing cardio consistent. I haven't been sick in over a year. I literally haven't. I'm convinced. Okay, so like glutathione, I have this product called Life Support. I forget what brand it is. I have a few different things from a few different places. I'm sure you do too. But it has like NAD, glutathione, glutamine in it, a few other amino acids. And I mean, does it burn a little bit? Sure, but but it is incredible, and I genuinely feel so much better taking it. Like, and I'm not gonna say an acute like, oh my goodness, in 5 minutes I'm awake and alive and kicking ass. But dude, that stuff's magic. There's so much good shit out there. I'm like, why don't doctors talk about this more? But there's no money in it. But dude, it sounds freaking incredible. I have I think we've talked about cartilage before, and now it's like NAD by Modern.
Yeah.
That has the B vitamins, the Mick blend, and the L-carnitine. And one more thing, but I feel great with that too, and that obviously translates to over cardiovascular endurance. It has more benefits in it as well, but I feel good with that too.
Yeah. Yeah. One I've been using too. I do 2 weeks on, 1 week off of cardarine.
Okay. Oh, cardarine is so underrated. I need to shut up. I know I'm keep on talking.
Very underrated.
100%. Oh my goodness. I think that was one of the first things when I was like 23 or 24 that I experimented with. Is like, why are you taking a SARM? I'm like, no, this shit's good. Like,
It's good.
it makes party, especially when getting heavier. It has its application in the off season. You're getting heavier. I want a little cardio boost. You're training efficiency. You're going to failure on a set. How many times do you kind of gas out before your body physically gasses out? Cardio would be an awesome tool for that.
Yeah. That's a huge part of doing cardio, not for fat loss, but for training efficiency. I think Kuba talks about that all the time. It's like we're trying to build more muscle, so we need to take our muscle to failure. And if we can't take our muscle to failure because we're running out of air, that's what are we doing any of this for?
Uh-huh.
So that's huge cardio, but also cardio helps. But cardio helps our lipids too. So, I've been try it, see what happens, see what works, and I think that's the coolest part about coaching ourselves or coaching other people. That labs are a lot less expensive, so you can get labs every 4 or 6 weeks or whatever, and see how something changes. See how it affects you. That was like some that once I got to the higher GH dose, I started taking some T4.
Oh, that's one thing I haven't since I bumped up from 4. I haven't gotten that tested, so I'm curious to see. Obviously, like I'm not. I'm not insulin resistant yet. My thyroid's not going to fuck up in a month or two, but
Right.
I haven't monitored that yet. See, I haven't even gone down that road.
Well,
Now,
once you get over the 6 IUs,
yeah.
Yeah,
Dang.
I mean, my TSH was like in the gutter, and my free T3 was very high. So,
Is this post-show or when?
more recently, so probably around December, January. So TSH was low, free T4 was low, and T3 was high. So I added in 100 micrograms of T4, and then that brought everything kind of back in because growth hormones basically speeding up the conversion of T4 to T3. So then we have less of the materials that our body needs. So we're just giving our body more T4, which is more of the raw materials, and letting our body actually do the process versus supplementing with T3, which is taking over the process. So I'm staying lean, feel good, so can't complain.
Dude, you're big as shit.
What about that? GH titration, GH dose.
Ooh, see, this is one I can't. I'm not gonna say I can't speak on yet, but I'm still. So July will be my 1 year anniversary of consistently taking growth.
Let's go.
In the past, yeah, in the past, I was one of those guys like, oh, I have enough money, or like I bought 2 kits, and I'm like thinking back on what the fuck was I doing? Like what? Like right? Do you ever like okay? When you talk to a guy about like, you say he's like, I want to start taking growth, and you're like, okay, like you want to make sure. General rule of thumb, I say, you have enough like for 6 months to take consistently. To get enough to take that for consistent 6 months. Not buying a kit at a time and or skipping out and missing out on. You're not going to get the benefits out of it now. This is also it's a luxury, and which is not as expensive as it once was, but don't take growth for like a month and then just stop and then take it for 2 months and stop. No, it should be run consistently. Of course, with you want to make sure it's one of those things within budget as well, because anabolics take priority over it. They truly do, right? But it's they're always going to be the main driver of growth, but there is a synergy between growth. But it's one of those, invest in it when you can truly invest in taking it for a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say what people are gonna hate to hear, but growth hormone and insulin made me a bodybuilder for sure. It's white guy thing. Like you need the growth hormone. Skinny white guy, we need the fullness.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna tell you, dude, that's probably one of the coolest things. You literally just stay fucking fuller. So I yeah, I'm still getting I get pumped thinking about. So I tangent off of off season, but let's just talk about us. I asked you if you were competing later this year, right? Caliber being one of the things you want to do. So I talked to Bree and I was like, hey, like, because next year we're getting married. We get married in March. And then after that, we want to have kids and we want to do all that kind of stuff. And it's like, bodybuilding can be selfish. And this point, she's still going to support me in everything I do. But if we're having a kid, like, I want to give my time to that kid. So I have kind of one last shot at like doing this bodybuilding thing in the meanwhile. Like I'm still gonna be a bodybuilder year round, but I would hate to be like missing like an appointment, when she's pregnant because I'm doing something. So I want to do the classic show at the end of the year. That's why I split it up. That's I just know I need more legs, and I can do a lot of damage in 12 weeks. My legs were larger when I was powerlifting, and I have that there. So there's also muscle memory from my legs. But that's what I was going to talk to you about. We'll talk off air about a little bit of that, slim growth and how to maximize
that. What are the secrets? What are we doing? Are we feeding up? Are we taking a little bit of Anadrol, or what are we doing on leg days?
So right now, that's the thing. So I have my training day diet and my rest day diet, and my rest day diet is just minus the intra-workout carbs, and I have a banana pre-workout. It's just a little bit more fuel than I get in. So subtract, what is that? Maybe 50 carbs on that. But I want to essentially kind of put higher days on my leg days, and but like acutely, like I'm still thinking of how I'm going to structure it all, but there's other shit I want to try too. What do you think about IGF-LR3?
That's funny. Me and Case were talking about this at the gym today. I've heard both sides. I've never taken it. I've heard people say it's the best thing ever, and I've heard people say they got nothing from it. There's no in between.
Oh, that's what I'm like, and I guess a lot of this is self-experimentation too, right? We got to try stuff. You were able to try something and relay it over to whether it's a friend, a client, or somebody else, but that's something I haven't tried, and there's so much out there. So, I mean, what would it hurt? Because this is also something, it's not like growth in the sense that you do want to periodize this, and you don't have to take it daily and things like that, but I'm very curious to know. I'm like, what can it hurt, trying it for 12 weeks outside of having to pin the quads, which is something I don't really like too much.
Yeah. I mean, that's a interesting segue of something that my prior coach had me do before my back days was to do some injectable aminos.
Oh, what did you like? What have you tried?
It was just from Modern. It was just like, citrulline, ornithine, agmatine blend or something.
It used to have a name. Now
it was called like Max Pump or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
But basically it was just like Phil Vizza said it too. Like you could just pin water in whatever muscle you're in training, you'll have better mind muscle connection. Which at the time I was like, ooh, this is new. That's cool. But I don't know if it really did anything. I think I'm more of a fan of the high day for sure. So I've been doing 2 high days for the whole year basically. So like I'm a bigger fan of the high day than doing like a cheat meal the night before. I think people do that, but I do the high day of like close to zero fat and like 1,000 to 1,500 grams of carbs, and lower the protein down. Like a normal day of protein is like 350 grams of protein. For me, I'll lower it down to like 250, 225 and do 1,200 grams of carbs. I like that a lot better than something else. It's just when it's been working.
Yeah, you know what? That it's funny that you say that too, because I've as much as our we'd want to just say, hey, why don't we end the day with a burger and fries or end the day with some high calorie pizza or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Genuinely, when we're really trying to grow optimally, I think about, okay, I'm going to fuel my workouts with these higher carbs. I'm going to digest food better. I'm going to be able to eat tomorrow's meals just as fine. You start thinking about these higher carb days. That's why to me, I was like thinking I'm going to structure higher carb days on these days versus just like, I'm going to go
Yeah.
have a burger or post workout. Does it have its place? Maybe, but that's not the best way to grow. So I thought it
It's,
reeled back into what we were talking
yeah.
about.
I mean, I don't think like if we really look at a burger, it's mainly fats.
Yeah,
It's not
you're lucky to get an 80-20 patty. These
right.
patty places are not, they're not lean
No,
meat. You'd be lucky
no.
if it's probably 70-30 chuck. It's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
It's not doing anything for muscle.
No.
I mean, the first place that I would go is the intra workout carbs. I mean, I'm at 125 grams of intra a day.
What do you get it through? HCBD?
I do half HBCD and half Vitargo.
Hey, nice.
So Vitargo,
Smooth.
yeah, it's a lot faster. So
Uh,
I've done the 125 of Vitargo. It's a little too fast. Like I'll have to go to the bathroom. But the mix of both is good for me. So you get a little bit of both. Yeah, that's where I'm going. Because then it doesn't impede any of your meals anywhere.
no, it doesn't impact
You
you.
just
Your post workout, you're still going to be able to get in versus
exactly.
a more simple sugar or something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's the most important is the post workout meal. Anabolic window or no anabolic window? Go.
Dude, you do not wait 2 hours to eat. Don't wait 2 hours to eat. But I get home, I make my food then. I'm eating within 45 minutes typically of when I'm done working out, I'd say. If but you shouldn't go 2 hours without fucking eating a meal. Even you shouldn't, but you don't need to time it as you're walking out of the gym. Unless like you really have a hard time eating and you need to get some liquid calories in right away, then sure. But I probably eat within 45 minutes, maybe at latest an hour, and that's because like I'm making something or something like that. Because I
Or if
know,
you're going hypo.
oh that too. That yeah, 100%. That I'm like, give me that shit.
Yeah, that's funny.
I know I need to switch up my post workout meal because I'm really liking it right now, but it's 93.7 beef. I'm doing myself a service by having that instead of a leaner cut or some cream of rice. And I need to get in my body. That's why I need to talk to you.
We'll
I
talk.
know I know what I'm doing. I know what I can be doing better. So
Yeah.
ultimately, like, we're talking about here is also the minutia, which does you are going to get that 2, 3%, 4% better. All these things apply, but ultimately you just want to have a training stimulus, a surplus, the gear, and everything like that. But all this minutia that we're talking about here about timing carbs, intra-workout carbs, they have their place, and it's like if this is what you're about and you're looking for max muscle building, these percentages add up, right? They 100% do. So it's like I know myself, I'm doing myself a disservice by having maybe what is it like 12 to 15 added grams of fat in that meal. Is it hindering my gains? No, but could I be getting better gains from something else? Yes.
Should we get into some questions?
Yeah. I
We
got
have a
one.
lot. Okay,
Do you have a lot?
we can
I
try
have
to.
one. I wanted to hit one first. This is I
We'll
got
try
quite
and
a few.
rapid fire. We'll do our
Sorry about.
best.
Yes, okay. Rapid fire. I'll give like a 2 minute spiel. Where'd you go? Um, Angel, one of my clients. She's the definition of locked in as well. I wanted to give her a quick shout out because she literally is just as regimented, does everything conducive towards bodybuilding, and I just wanted to get to her question. Anyways, hi,
Angel
Angel.
with the huge delts.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
So she asked about let me see the actual question. What is the difference between a male and a female prep hormones, menstrual, etc. So I'll touch on it real quick, and then you get into it too. So I'm going to say I think one of the biggest issues with female preps or how they should be done versus other ones, or simply a woman dieting down to a lean body composition, is they're not little men. Women aren't. They're not a 140, 150 pound male to diet them down. There are also crucial things that come down to it, like dietary fats. I have this general rule of thumb of with a woman, I never want to go under 30 grams of fat. And even then, if we do, it's like a 1.5, 2.5 week dig phase because we were, as human beings, we require dietary fats for hormonal function, for brain function, plenty of different things. But as enhanced males, we can get away with, doing trace fats, throughout the day. But women, it's so much more important. Like they have life after bodybuilding. So I'm going to say one of the biggest things is the rate at which they diet, the essentially the macro breakdown at which they go, and then one more quick hit: cardio with women versus men. Yourself, you can do a 3 speed, 3 incline treadmill, and you're burning tons of calories. That can be cardio for you,
Yeah.
mass moving that amount. Whereas it's not that. I guess like women having to do 45 to 90 minutes of the stair climber. They're simply smaller bodied, have less muscle tissue, and they need to, in order to burn a set amount of calories, they need to do something that gets their heart rate higher, something that where they get that return of calorie burn. So it's not that women have to do so much more cardio than men because men are lucky. I guess in a sense we are. Just we're large individuals with more muscle tissue. So we can, do a different modality or easier quote unquote modality.
Yeah. I think you nailed it on that. I think it's not to go on another tangent, but similar to that one study that they said like women have a higher pain tolerance, so they have to train. It's better for them to train in a different rep range. Like they have more trouble in a lower rep range because like if they do a set of 20, it's easier for them than for males to do a set of 20 because they have a higher pain tolerance.
And some women train hard as hell. It impresses me, dude. Especially like with some of these, like I mean, not to say we don't do glute exercises, but like women, they want more lower body, so they do a lot of more glute dominant movements. But you see some of them pushing shit, and I'm like, you're hitting failure, dude. Like you're fucking get that shit. It's impressive.
So I can imagine with cardio, it would be similar. Yeah, makes sense. Let's see. Brian asks, what to look for in a contest prep coach and how to spot the fakes.
Ooh, I had a similar one too. Okay, so I want to say, I mean, the thing is, let's do the context of a first time competitor. I have, as a first time competitor, you're going to see these kind of like guru coaches. We're not even saying like guru like Chris Aceto or anything like that. We're talking, let's just say Kyle Wilkes, for example, or so someone around that kind of level of things. You're like, I have no issue with someone going to a newer coach or a first time coach or someone more relative and close because you get more of that one on one sort of. Not that you need your handheld, but dude, there's so many questions that go into your first prep. Like so many, like the intangibles is what I call them. Like the first timer, what you just don't know enough. There's so much moving pieces going on. So with a first time coach, someone that I mean isn't just here's a shredded picture of me at my last competition. I don't really know much. My coach gave me a diet and I got shredded. Let me help you get shredded for your competition. Talk to them, pick their brain, see what what they have to offer. I think that's a really big thing. And they don't need. Not everyone's going to have 50,000 client transformations, especially if they're in your coach. But someone that invests in you and that you mesh well with, someone that you also, in a sense, hold on a pedestal. Like I think you can say the same thing when hiring a coach or having a close friend or someone that you bounce ideas off of. You want to respect that person and their thoughts where you value their opinion. So in a sense, you kind of have to hold them on this pedestal of like what you say has merit and value, and I want to kind of make you proud. I want to take that information that you're relaying over to me and execute it because I want to do what's best for me. And thank you for working with me.
Right. Yeah. I think in the same vein, there's since there's so many coaches, Now you need to find the right coach for you specifically. So, that comes down to talking to that coach's clients and ask them, what are their plans like? If you're somebody who needs a cheat meal every week, like, does this coach, don't hire the coach who's a no cheat meal coach, or
That's a really good one. No, that applies more than people know. That applies more than people know.
yeah, I think there's so many coaches. So it's like, if you're, trying to lose 150 pounds, don't hire the competition only bodybuilding coach who's going to put you on 2 hours of cardio. Hire,
He'll make you lose that 150 pounds, but
right. So I think finding your ideal coach and your ideal client in a sense, and matching it up is important.
it's funny because also I think one of the most common questions will be like, "What's your style of coaching?" It's hard to answer. It's a hard question to answer because everything is so person specific. Where they're at in their bodybuilding career, what they've been doing. Like there's no. I guess we all have our styles and our kind of trains of thought, but it's like there's no set style, right? When somebody asks you, "Hey, what's your style of coaching?"
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends. Like, if you're looking for a coach, like, if you need to talk to your coach every week, don't hire Chris Aceto who sends you one word answers. So
I do a lot of I'm sure you've seen video responses just because although we are online coaches and Loom has become a big thing. I don't even have Loom. I just heard the term Loom. I know record the videos, but like
yeah,
I think that's another thing too. Is I feel like I just like yourself. You know what is awesome about podcasts, especially like the fact that you and I is like you can kind of see a thought process behind things and see a person behind it. So that's kind of like where I know you get a lot of your thoughts as well. But it's like if you have to be able to talk to that person and be like, huh, I want to know more. I want to apply more of what this person's teaching me, or like I like what he stands for and what he talks about.
yeah, exactly. Julian asks, why do gym bros have the worst possible style? Never seen a big dude with drips.
Dude, it's funny enough. Don't you? Do you train more now what you're fucking comfortable in? And like
100%.
don't get me wrong, dude. When it comes to gym clothes, like do I sometimes buy like I see Jack Eagles post some Gymshark shorts and I'm like I gotta get those, or like, I see a dude in a Gap shirt, I'm like I'm gonna buy that. It's like I will never understand the like, dude. I'm just saying as a male, Define, the brand Define, the women
Yeah.
brand. They have a men's line. You would never catch me fucking Define. But I mean, obviously, wear what makes you happy, right? But
Yeah.
ultimately, like if you like your fit and you like your drip, that's cool. But I'm gonna ultimately train in what I feel comfortable in, whether it's an oversized shirt, whether it's a beater, whether it's my beat up Vans. We rock the fucking old ass Vans. I don't need the expensive trainers. It's
No.
like yes, train what you freaking feel good in. That's a funny one.
Yeah. When you get big, it's comfort first. Comfort is coming first. Yeah. It
uh,
was like in prep, I bought a bunch of New Balance shoes because my
uh,
feet were hurting. And
yeah.
now I just wear my Crocs or my Birds because my feet still hurt.
It's funny you say that. Like I have these on clouds that like during prep when your feet get lean and like you want some comfort on them. I was wearing those all the time now. Now my feet got some fat on them. I'm wearing my Vans again, my Converse, and they're comfortable. Because
Exactly.
that does change, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, you ever use some good ones? Go for it.
Papa Stacks Unk. He said, "What have been the biggest struggles in the off season?" My first thought was putting my socks on.
Oh, dude, I don't want to say. One of the biggest struggles I would say usually is what comes with getting heavier. That with the price of the socks. Just breathing heavier, being a larger individual. I mouth tape and I nose strip. I don't CPAP. I still have that in my closet. I haven't had to use it yet. But just like when you just feel yourself breathing heavier, and it's like you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, you just walk more. You just stay in shape, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good question. And somebody asked something similar, but Um, like how long do you think that we should marinate at a weight, or do you like to marinate or no?
Absolutely. To some extent, you absolutely need to. That's a good point. A huge mistake a beginner would do, or less than advanced person, was I want to be 200 pounds. When I'm 200 pounds, I'm going to start cutting. No, you need to, especially if it's your first time touching this new weight, you can't just go back down. So much of that is new tissue that you need to solidify. Whether it's holding it there, literally holding it there, getting a little bit softer, holding it there, or getting harder would be even more ideal. It's hard to give a specific. I want to say like the newer that weight is to you, the newer that muscle is at that weight, the longer you should try and marinate there for. No, I mean, and not to say you shouldn't be spending 6 months there. You want to progress either way, either building muscle or using it to get lean and resensitized. But I mean, like a minimum of 4 weeks, let's say, it's kind of
Yeah,
hard to throw numbers. You want to hang out there because all that is new tissue your body's recognizing as like it's new normal. That's kind of the way I put it, especially not just the muscle tissue itself, but your metabolism. If you got yourself to eating, let's say for them it's 4,400 calories and they're staying relatively lean, get your body used to that, bro. Like milk that. It's only gonna benefit you in the long run.
I think that's the dog days of bodybuilding, is that end of the off season where food has to just, you're trying to get the food higher and higher, and to set up a prep, and you just get like a little bit softer and a little bit softer at the same weight, but it's necessary. It's very
It pays
necessary.
itself back. It pays itself back, but that's you're right. It's never the fun part. And then you're no longer like as ripping through as much PRs and shit like that. You should be still getting stronger in any phase. Like as if you're cruising, if you're blasting, you should still always be aiming to quote unquote beat the logbook. I don't check. I don't have a logbook, but you should be aiming to get stronger. But it is. It's the last side note. I have such a respect in this sense for natural bodybuilding. I have a take on it that I don't hear said often. Natural bodybuilding is so tough, or it's hard because as an enhanced bodybuilder, your return on investment shows itself more consistently and sooner. Breaking past plateaus, building muscle, we have to just as much because the gear doesn't do the work for you. Absolutely doesn't. You still need to be on top of your eating, your training, all that. But with natural bodybuilding, it's such a slower process. You really have to invest yourself and love it in order to. Because, dude, we love I mean, you throw in a new thing, you take this up higher, you add in these calories, you get that return in a week, in 2 weeks. And natural bodybuilding, the higher you get, the higher the level. We're talking, you may not see visual changes for 3 months. And I mean, exaggerating, right? But I have such a respect for natural bodybuilding for that reason. It's just like you have to really love it to apply yourself for that because it goes unsaid of how much gear just helps progress continue in a sense, or it's slow. It's not as slow, so the return you get to visually and physically, it keeps you motivated to see results. So
Definitely.
I think I was just thinking about that the other day.
Shout out to all the natties.
100%. You guys fucking rock. But don't be making no fucking excuses. I would look like you if it's like something else. Funny enough, I saw the dude. I know you. What's the big dude on Instagram? You're gonna know what I'm talking about when I say him.
Ryan
When he's
Reese.
like, yes.
Yeah.
His one about like back training. He's like, girl, do these 3 exercises if you want to grow your back. And he's like, brother, like I'm gonna follow this if I want to know what not to do. Oh my goodness, the guy has the funniest fucking takes, but no, he's
big
genuine.
big guy takes.
Yes,
Yeah, man. I think that's a good place to call it if we're good
yo,
there.
dude, fuck yeah, we knocked out a
We
lot.
got. Hey, we did great. We're getting better every single week.
Hell yeah! All
All
right,
right,
dude.
guys. Thank you, guys.
If you made it if you made it to the end, put something like last minute crew or put what you had for meal one today in the comments down below, something like that.
All right, dude. Appreciate everybody. Subscribe, like the video, share with a friend. If you're on the Stairmaster, keep going. Watch the other video. And see you guys next week.